I
anything
was
else like that.
watching.
But they lost the white class.
I
The white working class are totally against Democrats,
well,
Yeah.
I was watching.
and it's going to be hard for them to get it back.
Yeah.
I
No.
was watching a program last night, and they happened to say, they were talking a little bit about Biden, and Biden was commenting on Hillary's last, you know, the last time she addressed the people. Give her her pill. And Biden happened to turn to an aide, and he said, "What's wrong with this picture?" And the aide looked at him. He said, "There's nobody there that looks like me." He said, "You know, it's
Yeah,
basically." He said, "What happened to the Rust Belt? What happened to the factory worker? You know, in Delaware or Pennsylvania or
they didn't care.
Ohio."
They sold. They didn't care. They sold it all out, man. NAFTA, CAFTA, TTT, Biden and Obama are all for that stuff. They're not for the American people, and that's what Trump played on. I'm for you. I'm not for big business and Hillary's big old um, money making scheme she's got going on. I'm for you the people. And he reached out, and you saw his arenas. They were filled. People were waiting in Florida. They couldn't even get in. They were coming everywhere. We've had enough. We've had enough of this Marxist democratic bullshit. And they voted him out, and the media too, because it's like we want to rule our own lives. This country is founded that we the people regulate the government, not the government regulating us. And that's what I believe in. And that's what the American people believe.
Yeah,
We regulate the government. They are our servants. Anybody who goes our servants, we are the masters. And we are the only ones on the planet that can say that. Go to Castro and try to burn a flag.
well,
He'd be dead immediately.
Castro's not doing much of anything anymore. You know.
Yeah, thank God he's gone. His soul rests wherever. But just like,
Yeah, the one thing, yeah,
and go to Kim Jong Un and go to North Korea and try to do that. Go to any of these, go to ISIS and try to do something like that.
hey,
Go to
listen,
any of these places.
Kim,
We don't realize how lucky we are to live here.
you're right. That you're 100% right. That's why, when you talk about making America great again, the bottom line is this is a great country. People don't realize the freedoms that they have here that they don't have elsewhere. Okay, the
Yeah,
fact that
they take it for granted.
if they say certain things, they could be locked up, like Cuba, you know, and they throw
Oh
away the
yeah,
key and they forget about you.
right. Castro don't want, unless you're in his regime, they don't allow people to own boats there. They don't allow people to have internet access there. Oh, they're really illiterate there. Yeah, they're illiterate for what? Raul Castro or Fidel Castro is a great guy. We are lucky we have him. That's what they read. He is wonderful. We are so lucky. We're the only ones that have him, and that's what they read in school. Oh yeah, yeah, you're really lucky. I'd rather be in a place where I can burn a flag.
Let me tell you, you did that in Cuba. You see, that's the thing. You did that in
Oh,
Cuba. They'd stand you up
can
against
you
the
imagine if you
wall and
took a
you'd be
picture of
shot.
Castro and Fidel Castro even today and burnt it in the middle of the street? Oh my gosh.
Do you remember?
We show it on. Oh look,
Do you
you'd be all the way so quick, nobody would hear from you again.
do you remember a scene in The Godfather? Not the first one. I believe it was the second one when Michael Corleone was in Cuba. Okay, this was just
Yeah,
before.
yeah, with the ball
Uh,
guy there.
yeah, and
Yeah, I
uh,
remember.
and the guy ran into the cab and exploded a hand grenade, killing himself and the soldiers that were around him there. And Michael said, "The rebels are going to win," and they said, "Well, how do you know?" He said, because the soldiers are paid to do what they do. He said, you have a guy like that who's willing to blow himself up, and that's why you got to worry about
Yeah,
ISIS, all right?
exactly,
Any suicide bomber, you know, uh,
exactly. And we have 49 dead here in Orlando, where I'm at. You know, and 4 dead in Ohio was a big thing. It really got me political activist. And when Crosby, Stills and Nash came out with that song, 4 dead in Ohio, but we got 49 dead in Orlando. And what's Obama doing about it? What's Hillary doing it? Oh, no, we'll leave the borders open, and we're going to bring more of these people. People, we're tired of this shit. These guys are way off touch, man. They're way out of bounds.
well, that's the other thing.
It's like,
Trump has the support of the people because he's talking about doing away with sanctuary cities, the
yes.
sanctuary that exist, you know. Um,
Well, I don't even care so much about doing away with sanctuary cities as I do. How about guarding the border? you know, that's Article 4, Section 4 of the
yeah.
Constitution. Without reading, and it says that one of the primary duties of the federal government is to protect us from invasion, and they're not doing it.
No, they're not.
Well,
I
I
mean,
think,
these guys were. I mean, the Obama regime was very bad, and Hillary, we can only see worse with her. And so that's why she lost. I mean, the media could try to prop her up all they want and say everything they want, but people rose up and said enough. But
well,
they're still fighting it. I mean, they're challenging it now. The election results. So,
yeah, right.
but
And they're saying
if
that,
if they are able to overturn it, I think we will have a revolution on our hands,
well, one of the things that's happening
or
on,
a civil war. We should just say civil war.
yeah, there are people calling up and threatening the electorates to change their vote. And in some
That's
states,
crazy.
it's allowed. Like in Florida, it's allowed.
Yeah.
And they had the head of the delegates there. And he said he got like 7,000 emails, with all sorts of craziness. And one woman, somebody emailed her that he wanted to send her a special package to please give her her address. Those are pretty much now threats. And she said this
Yeah.
woman was scared.
Well, the whole world's on a big battle. There's three dominant forces. One is the Islamic theologists that want a Islamic state, a caliphate, whatever you want to call it, if you study into Islam. And they just we just detonated things. The Philippines are going through a lot. They're still going through a lot in Pakistan and India. I mean, the Islamic State is on. They believe we are in World War III already, and I predict by 2020 we will be. And with Trump and who he's appointing, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens quicker. But you have that. Then you have the Marxists, and then you have the Christian libertarians. The Christian libertarians want limited government and pro-freedom. The Marxists want dominant centralized government run by the elite and the bankers and the rich. And then you have the Islamic State that wants the Islamic theology. And what Islam, you can see what ISIS is. And if they had their way, and they used to have it. The Ottoman Empire used to have that state. I mean, they were one of the most dominant cultures of the world at the time, in the 1500s and 1600s.
That's it. Turkey.
But
Yeah.
World War One took them out. World War One took out the Ottoman Empire, but the Ottoman
Suleiman.
Empire, they want to come back. I mean, and what's going on in Turkey and Iran and the Middle East, and Russia and everything, and with Trump winning, I wouldn't be surprised. World War III to the Islamic. There's the three main battle people out there. One that wants, like I said, a new world order. The other one wants the old world Islamic order, and the Christian libertarians just like, leave us alone, let us be free. You know what I mean? But that's where the battle's at.
Well, in the United States,
There's a lot of all. the least amount in the United States is the Islamic terrorists. There's very few of them here, but there's a lot of Marxists in this country.
Well, what we
I mean,
have,
Hillary and Obama are two of the bigger ones.
well,
But there's a lot to believe
what we
in
have
our
is
schools
we have a
and
lot.
our colleges.
Ed, we have a lot of lone cells. Okay, people who are self-educated,
Yeah,
who go to Syria. Well, not Syria, but they go to Jordan or they go to the Middle East and they get educated and brainwashed, and they come back here.
right,
And these are the
right.
ones. These are the ones that'll drive a truck or a car into a crowd of people because they're told you
Right.
don't have to join
Yeah.
us. Just kill the infidel.
The good thing about this guy,
Right.
the latest guy, he wasn't good at what he did. That's why nobody died.
Yeah.
If he was good at what he did, a lot more people could have died.
Well, yeah, exactly. We're lucky that guy from Somalia wasn't very good. The guy nice, he killed lots of people, but he had a truck and he was going
Right.
when there
That's
was a
right.
big fair, and he come barreling down. He killed what, I don't know, 100 and some, and 100, 200 more. You know what I mean? This guy wasn't very good, but he was only 18 or 19 years old. And here
Ed,
you got a 19-year-old that was given an education, brought into this country, put into the school system, but he still fell for what was going on in the Islamic caliphate.
you know,
Still
hey,
felt enough that,
the
Well,
Ohio State University doesn't
but
just
you can't
accept
bring these
anybody.
people in. You got to vet them.
you
I
gotta
mean, you
vet
got
him,
to agree. You got to vet these people.
and you gotta, like
But
you
we got
said,
to really vet them. And that's where Obama and Democrats lost it, because their immigration policy was terrible.
But you know
Terrible.
something,
People had so
I
many
was watching.
so much stuff. It was terrible.
I happened to be watching, a special on CNN. I think Anderson Cooper was the moderator, the host, and they showed the vetting process, and they interviewed the people who have to do the vetting, and they said that it's an intense 2 year process. It's not as easy as you think to get to be allowed to come into the country. I mean, it seemed like an intense program to me. You have to have sponsors and everything, and they don't just put you
Yeah.
anywhere.
But no, they brought a lot in that weren't vetted that well. They brought so many. I mean, they were bad. The immigration policy over the Obama administration was terrible, and that's one of the biggest. That and this Obamacare, forcing people to buy something they don't want. The federal government shouldn't be running health care. Those two things are what brought down, Hillary and the Democrats over the last 8 years. There's more Republicans in it's almost like Obama was a Republican plant. If the Republicans are dumb for joy because they got so much going on in the states
Well,
and the federal government.
the
It's
problem.
almost all Republican now, and the reason
Well, that's true. It is.
one word why they're so great. Obama was not a leader. He was like lead from behind. He had no vision. He didn't get people out there. He didn't get people excited. You know, and, and I'm not saying that we got the right leader, but he knows how to speak to the people. That's
Well,
one thing I'll give Trump.
the problem.
Obama just went with the media.
The problem with Obamacare is that from its inception, when it was first introduced, there
Oh yeah,
was
it was a
there
mess.
was even within the Democrat, even within the Health and Human Services, I forgot who the chairperson was, but I mean, it was like one big headache and problem. They gave you the websites and you couldn't get on.
Oh yeah,
There was so
when they
many.
first implemented, and then he implemented in a little state, and nobody wanted this from the get-go. He didn't have no Republican support. He had to buy a Democratic votes, and see that's why the Democrats lost because of the way he dealt things. That was a terrible president. I mean, he was all about his agenda. Nobody else's agenda
Well,
even counted. It's a big country. You got to listen to people. You got to listen to the other side.
hey
You
Ed,
know, like
with
he didn't.
With all the, do you remember a comedian? Because you're a little bit younger than me, but you remember a comedian named Moms Mabley?